Sports.
A slow roller, gonna be a tough play. Hunsley, bare hands on the bounce, a throw. He got him. What a play from Grayson Hunsley on the bare hand.
It's time for Post-8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Post-8 Baseball is brought to you by Comtech, True Green Camelon, Edward Jones Financial, Overhead Door, Todd's Electric, Shane's Pharmacy, Jaeger, AGE, First Fidelity, and State Farm Becky Ponteba Agency.
This will be flown out by Charlie Simpson out to left field. Going back, it is gone! Charlie Simpson hits a two-run home run, and it's a 3-2 ball game.
Post-8 Baseball is also brought to you by Capital City Ford, Lincoln, and Toyota, Oahe Federal Credit Union, Missouri River Dentistry, Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping, Agtegra, Farting Electric, Envirotech, and Kruger Climate Systems.
Here's a line shot out and towards left center field. Diving and making the catch out in center is Sun and Shine. And a tip of the cap from the head coach.
Post-8 Baseball is also brought to you by Stalkin Peterson LLP, Wagner Auto, the South Dakota Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection, Gales Gas, First United Methodist Church, Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction, Beck Motors, and May Adam.
Yes, with a fly ball to left field. That one is going back to the wall. It's out of here. A 3-run homer for Dawson Getz. And it's a 4-0 lead for the Eights.
And by American Family Insurance Brittany Scheffelbein Agency, Lamb Motors, Bank West, CHS River Plains, Faith Lutheran Church, Graham Tire, Kathy's Sunshine Properties, Venture Communications, and the American of Fort Pierre. And now, Post-8 Baseball on KCCR.
Welcome to the Western Edge, everyone. We are in Dickinson, North Dakota today for more Pierre Post-8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Dylan Simmons with you at Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark, DCB&T, as I called it back in my Badlands Big Sticks days. Glad to be back here in Dickinson and glad to have you on for Post-8 Baseball. Should be a couple of fun games today as your Eights take on the Dickinson Roughriders in their first out-of-state game of the season. Post-8 coming off two big wins last night. If you tuned in on KCCR or at YouTube on for KCCR Sports, two big wins against Spearfish last night, two of the most dominant wins that Pierre has had thus far this season, and they're hoping that they can translate that into two big wins today. This tournament kind of has changed quite a bit from what it was originally supposed to be. It was going to end up being a full-on tournament with multiple teams from multiple states that then got changed to eventually a kind of three-way round-robin situation. Then one more team dropped out, and that's what's led to the doubleheader that we have in front of us today. But regardless of all of that, opportunity is knocking for Pierre Post-8 as they look to get yet another big win here on the road against the Dickinson Roughriders. Last night, the offense and defense both played sensationally, and what was really impressive was the dominance by Post-8, especially late in those games. In game number one, they really took over with a dominant fourth and fifth inning leading into the sixth, and then in game number two, it was the sixth and seventh in which Pierre just completely took over the game. A combined 11 runs scored, including the first home run of the season. Ridge Linebach with a 2-run home run over the left field wall at Black Hills Energy Stadium. Pierre picking up their first doubleheader sweep of the season. And with all of that in the back of their mind, you know that they've got to be feeling confident about this opportunity. But the opponent they play today is definitely no chump. The Dickinson Roughriders are a great team. They're 6-2 to start the year, but they haven't faced an opponent quite like Pierre thus far this season. And that will lead to an interesting matchup between these two teams that play similar styles. Both teams have very solid pitching and great hitting, but there's also been stretches throughout the year where it hasn't quite been as exact or as precise as they would like it to be. So the question is, who will get everything down better today here on the road at DCB&T? That is something we will find out soon enough. We're going to take a quick 2-minute timeout. When we come back, we'll introduce the starting lineups for both Post-8 and the Dickinson Roughriders. You're listening to Post-8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Back in 2. Want technology solutions you can trust from a neighbor you know? Comtech, locally owned and serving Pierre and surrounding area since 2009, is dedicated to keeping your home, farm, and business connected and secure. We offer a full range of services, from audio and video, security, surveillance, and networking, with expert installation and support. Visit our storefront, call us at 605-224-4066, or visit our website, comtechplus.com, to experience the Comtech difference. Comtech, your local technology experts.
Hey, yo, Speedo's Lawn Care.
Hello. Say, my yard's in rough shape. It's got weeds, brown spots, and crabgrass.
Yeah, no problemo. What shade of green you need? We got 31 shades of green over here. Even the latest shade of septic tank grass green. That one just naturally gives off a glow.
Call the professionals at True Green. They know how to get your lawn healthy and keep it healthy. They guarantee it. All technicians are trained and certified.
Call True Green, 224-1916.
When you're looking for quality trash pickup services, look no further than Envirotech. 6 days a week, their trucks are on the road picking up trash, even holidays. They're also the place to contact for recycling services. Their friendly, professional staff is ready to assist with weekly pickups or even special pickups. Check out the website at envirotechwaste.com. Envirotech is locally operated. Call 224-4804. Envirotech Waste Services in Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
When life throws you a curveball, May Adam Law Firm in Pierre is here to help you knock it out of the park. For over 130 years, we've been providing trusted legal expertise in business, family law, criminal defense, and more. Proud sponsors of this season's baseball action, we're committed to serving our community both on and off the field. Need legal advice? Step up to the plate with May Adam Law Firm. Visit mayadam.net or call today. May Adam, South Dakota's law firm since 1881. Welcome back to Dickinson, North Dakota. This is Post-8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Lineups being exchanged between Pierre and Dickinson, River Iverson making his way out of the dugout, doing the honors for Post-8, and you know that he's got to be proud of the effort that his team showed on the road last night against Spearfish Post 164, but very shortly removed from those two games, the question is, where will the energy levels be for Pierre in this contest after having to travel another 3.5 hours north to Dickinson? That is something we will find out shortly. Starting lineups for both sides, we will start with Pierre. Leading off will be Carter Shufflebein, the shortstop. Sutton Sunshine will be the catcher. Cooper Terwilliger is the DH. Ridge Leimbach in left field. J.J. Buchholz, the first baseman. Trevor Rounds in right field. Porter Hunsley in center field. Grayson Hunsley at third base. Hudson Stocher is at second base. And the pitcher today for Pierre is Will Danberg, who we know has been sensational all season long, and he'll look to keep that going against Dickinson today. Meanwhile, for the Roughriders, Jack Price will be leading off as the shortstop. It's Kyle Kudna who will be on the mound for Dickinson, followed by Jake Balliot, the left fielder, Brady Hecker, the third baseman, Cameron Wolf at first base, Malachi Medina is the catcher, Nick Solobic is the center fielder, Christian Tibor is the right fielder, and Cameron Kubis is the second baseman for Dickinson today. Pierre is in their all-white uniforms with green numbers. They've also got some interesting green stripes that come down the north side, I guess, for lack of a better term, of the uniform. Makes for a really cool look. Meanwhile, for Dickinson, they've got white shirts with black stripes running across and black pants with a white stripe down the sides. So pretty interesting color combination today we've got between Pierre and Dickinson, and we'll see how those uniforms pop when they get onto the ballpark playing surface. Pretty good crowd on hand today here in Dickinson. A lot of fans making their way out, and of course, as somebody who's called in Dickinson before, they love their baseball out here, whether it be the Roughriders, the Big Sticks, or anywhere in between. They love to watch some baseball, and they're hoping that their Roughriders can get a win against Pierre today. But Post-8 has improved more and more as this season has progressed. 6-5 overall. Got their first doubleheader sweep of the season last night against Spearfish. made great strides in the Rapid City Veterans Classic. And with all the progress that they've been making in that due time, it feels as though Pierre is certainly breaking through to that next level that they've been searching for in the early part of this season. Obviously still a lot of baseball left to be played, but Pierre certainly has the capability to go far, and if they keep playing like they have been, they will certainly have an opportunity to make an impact when the state tournament comes around in late July. We'll be back in another 2 minutes after these pregame ceremonies right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. We'll get things going between Post 8 and Dickinson. Don't go anywhere, folks.
With any dream, the wind won't always be at your back, the sun won't always be shining, and some rain is going to fall. American Family Insurance is like a good, solid roof that you can trust to protect your biggest dreams. With plans that could save you up to 23% when you bundle your home and auto. Also, you can continue to dream fearlessly, no matter what comes your way. American Family Insurance.
Visit mfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company assigned its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Contact the Brittany Shufflebine Agency, LLC, 224-6627.
Looking for your next new or used car, truck, or SUV? Then go no further than the comfort of your own home. Shop online at lambmotor.com. On lambmotor.com, you'll find the vehicles Lambs has in stock. You can schedule a test drive or your vehicle's next tune-up, all online. New or used, shop for it all online, anywhere you are. Lamb Motor has the right vehicle for you. Lamb Motor in Oneida and online, lambmotor.com.
No one likes to have electrical problems, but when they happen, call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. With over 28 years of experience, Todd's Electric can handle any type of electrical problem, whether it's residential, commercial, or agricultural. Their knowledgeable staff knows and understands the importance of your home, business, or ag facility and are prepared to help. Call Todd's Electric at 223-2518. That's 223-2518. Todd's Electric, serving the Pierre and Fort Pierre areas. The line to power.
Financial investments are very important, but so are the investments of time, patience, and encouragement our young athletes receive from their coaches, teachers, and mentors. Your Pierre area Edward Jones Financial Advisors understand this. That's why Edward Jones is a proud sponsor of Governor Athletics on KCCR. Go Govs! For all your investment needs, call or stop by one of our offices to visit with your Pierre area Edward Jones Financial Advisor. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR. We now send you field side for opening ceremonies. Heard the national anthem being played here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark. Colors being displayed for those watching on the YouTube stream. Makes for a really nice visual in the backdrop of this beautiful ballpark. Post 8 and Dickinson about 5 minutes away from getting started. And Post 8 looking to continue their offensive strides from last night. As we mentioned before the commercial break, a combined 31 hits between the two games. There was 15 in game number 1 and 16 in game number 2. This Post 8 team playing probably their best offensive game of the season, and the pitching was there as well. J.J. Buckholtz went coast to coast in game number 1, all 7 innings pitched, did not give up an earned run. Raiden Hollett was also sensational in last night's second game, and now Will Danberg getting his opportunity on the mound. Enters today's game with a 3.00 ERA, and we'll see if he's able to keep that up. But right now it's time for the Post 8 offense and the Bats to get their opportunity here against Dickinson. By the way, our scoreboard on YouTube, courtesy of the American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebine Agency. Thank you, Brittany and American Family Insurance, for sponsoring our scoreboard each and every game. It is 3:01 Central Time back in the capital city, 2:01 Mountain Time here in Dickinson. This is KCCR Pierre, a Riverfront broadcasting station, and we're just about set for Post-A Baseball live here from the western edge of North Dakota. Carter Shufflebein will be leading off, the shortstop for this game. Last night he wore number 13 for Pierre, but these uniforms that they're wearing today have different numbers, and they create for some odd situations for some players because they're wearing numbers that they don't usually wear. So just bear with us as far as watching on the YouTube stream, because although it may not look like the player wearing the number you'd expect, it is still the player that we're talking about. So Carter Shufflebein to lead off, the shortstop for Pierre, and he will be facing the man on the mound. That is Kyler Kubna.
Shortstop number 1, Carter Shufflebein.
And he's been pretty solid this season. 5 innings pitched, 1 game started, and thus far has managed just 2 earned runs given up with 3 strikeouts. First pitch is going to be inside, but in for a strike. Count goes to 0-1, and we're underway here from Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark. Carter Shufflebein got the offense going early last night against Spearfish. He'll chop this one foul, and the count will move to 0-2 just like that, and a chance for Krudna to get a strikeout early on one of the best hitters that Pierre has at their disposal. 0-2 pitch, Kudna with a fastball, and here's an opposite field ground ball picked up by the second baseman, thrown on to first for an easy 4-3, and out number 1. Good job by Camden Kubis to clean that one up. Shufflebein is retired, 1 down here in the top half of the first inning. That'll send on Sutton Sonnenschein, the catcher today for Pierre. And boy, did he have a special game, number 1 against Spearfish yesterday in the Black Hills. Here's a high chopper right to the third baseman. He'll throw across the field to first and gets the easy 5-3 putout. That was Brady Hecker who was able to get to that baseball and made it pretty easy to retire Sonnenschein. That is 2 down quickly here in the top of the first as Cooper Terwilliger makes his way to the plate, the DH today for Pierre. And Terwilliger has been a player that we've just been astonished by his development, not just for Post-8, but also for the Pierre Governors. Came in later on in the season and made a huge impact for the Governors baseball team, and he's done the same with Post-8 thus far. Had a 2-run double in the top of the 6th yesterday as he fouls that one back. That coming in game number 2, and it was the play that happened right before the Ridge Linebach 2-run home run. Kind of got overshadowed as a result, but there's no denying his capabilities as he sends one into left center field, and it is caught by Nick Sobolik for out number 3. So that'll bring us to the bottom of the first. Pierre goes 3 up, 3 down. The Roughriders will get their chance when we come back in 1 minute right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Stolken Peterson LLP has been your local CPA firm for over 40 years, offering tax preparation, bookkeeping, payroll, and consulting services. If your business, farm, or ranch needs professional, accurate, and reliable services, we are your firm. Our clients are our number 1 priority. If you need a higher level of accounting service, give us a call at 605-224-5828. That's Stolken Peterson LLP, 222 East Missouri Avenue in Pierre.
Swing for the fences with a great deal from Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota in Pierre. Whether you need a powerful truck, a fuel-efficient sedan, or a spacious SUV, they've got the perfect lineup to keep you on the road and in the game. Don't strike out. Stop by today or visit CapitalCityFordToyota.com. Capital City Ford Lincoln Toyota, where the best deals in town are always in play. Welcome back to Post-8 Baseball on KCCR. We are live from Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark in Dickinson, North Dakota for today's doubleheader between Pierre Post-8 and the Dickinson Roughriders. Will Danberg takes the mound for Pierre, wearing number 10 today instead of his usual number 5, and he's hoping to be a perfect 10 against this high-octane Dickinson Roughriders offense. Jack Price will be leading off for Dickinson in this game, the shortstop, and he's had a pretty solid season thus far. A .346 average, 400 on-base percentage, and 9 total hits. The team leading 9 total hits, 3 doubles as well, and 5 RBIs. Leads the team in a lot of offensive categories, and now we'll see if he can maintain that pattern against Will Danberg. Post 8 above 500 for the first time this season after their 2 wins last night against Spearfish. These games will not count as far as South Dakota is concerned, but they are still important opportunities for Pierre to use at their disposal to improve themselves and where they're at as we approach the midway point in this American Legion baseball season. So Price will make his way to the plate, and we'll get our first look at the Dickinson Roughriders bats. Danberg loves to use that fastball, but he'll also mix in the breaking ball on occasion. There is the fastball. It's going to be outside. Count goes to 1-0. Pierre will not have too much rest after today's game. They will, or games I should say, since there are 2 games today. It's a doubleheader. Count goes to 1-1. They will play on Tuesday at home in a doubleheader against Sturgis. So they'll be right back to work for Pierre. As here's a line ground ball to short, picked up by Schuffelbein, gets it to first easily for a 6-3 putout, and that's 1 down here in the bottom half of the first inning. Good work by Carter Schuffelbein to manage that baseball well enough. That was one area that Pierre struggled in just a little bit last night. Committed 3 errors in game number 2 against Spearfish, and it almost cost them on a couple occasions. Really, game 2 was a lot closer than the score would indicate. Here's a ground ball to second. Stosher throws on to first for an easy 4-3 and out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down just like that as Kyle Kudna, the pitcher, is retired. Sends on Jake Balliot, the left fielder for Dickinson today, and the first lefty in the order as well for the Roughriders. Danberg historically has had success against lefties, but you never want to take this kind of matchup for granted. Swing and a miss, and the count goes to 0-1. Nice low fastball by Danberg that time. Most innings pitched on the season for Pierre, as far as the Governors are concerned, not post 8. Swing and a miss, count goes to 0-2. Danberg has also, on occasion, been a batter this year, has 2 RBIs for Pierre. 16 1/3 innings pitched for post 8 thus far this season. Looking for a big strikeout here, which would be his 11th overall. Just missed the zone on that pitch. Count goes to 1-2, trying to retire Jake Balliot. Danberg with a fastball, and that one bounces off of the plate, lands in the netting, and the count will be 2-2. Danberg went a little low that time, trying to possibly get Balliot at the knees, but Balliot was not easily fooled. It's a colder day here in Dickinson as well, which could have an impact on the direction and power that the baseball's hit with, and that's a swing and a miss. The wind may have helped Danberg that time. There was a light breeze that was coming right over the mound, and Danberg able to get the strikeout on Balliot, got him swinging. 3 up, 3 down for Dickinson and Pierre in the first inning. We're on to the top of the second with your score. Pierre 0, Dickinson also 0. Back in 1 here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Building a home. It's the biggest investment most of us make in a lifetime. Not to mention it's a decision that, well, you pretty much live with day and night. The quality of the workmanship stares back at you like a reflection. It also affects the value of your investment. Choosing the right contractor is critical. Kruger Contracting is that contractor. Call 222-2523. Quality workmanship and materials completed on time. Kruger Contracting. In a word, quality. Call 222-2523.
Becky Potsuba and State Farm Insurance are here to help you with your insurance and banking needs. State Farm's not just insurance. It's banking, investments, IRAs, loans, and a whole lot more. We offer guidance in a personal and caring way that helps you manage the risks of everyday life, recover from the unexpected, and find ways to control costs so you can realize your dreams. We know how life is, and we're here for you. Stop in to see Becky at 1315 East Wells Avenue in Pierre, or call Becky at 224-4173.
Welcome back here to Post 8 Baseball as Ridge Lineback wastes no time with a leadoff single. He may be able to make it a double. The throw on from right field is not going to be in time, and Ridge Lineback slides into second base. could be awarded as a throwing error, and it will be scored as such. So it's going to be a single for Ridge Lineback, but he gets all the way to second base as we get things going here in the top half of the second inning. Didn't take long for Lineback to capitalize immediately. That's what he's done all season long, is stuff exactly like that. Bizarrely wearing number 47 today for Pierre. Again, part of those number change-ups that we're seeing with these new uniforms. Count goes to 0-1 on J.J. Buchholz, the first baseman for Pierre. Post-8 entered the weekend with a .287 batting average, .393 slugging percentage. Chopper by Buchholz is fouled. Count goes to 0-2. Last year, Pierre had a .249 batting average, so at least so far, they're outpacing what they did a season ago. And it's part of that development that River Iverson has talked so much about with this post-8 baseball team. Wanting to see them take that next step this year. Guys like Ridge Lineback are certainly helping with that. His incredible, I keep saying weekend, but I keep forgetting it's also Friday, although it feels a lot like a Saturday for me at least. But he's had a sensational last couple of days, no doubt, as that pitch is low, and the count's going to even at 2 balls and 2 strikes for Buchholz. He had a pretty great day yesterday as well. Was on the mound in game number 1 for Pierre, pitched all 7 innings, and managed 3 key strikeouts to keep Spearfish at bay and help Pierre to a 13-3 win. The 2-2, and that pitch paints the corner for a strikeout and a big K, the first K of the day for Kyler Kudna. So he's able to take out Buchholz. That's 1 down in the top of the second, and it will send on the next man in the order, Trevor Rounds. Buchholz retired looking. Now both pitchers each with a strikeout. Rounds, the right fielder for Pierre, did not play in game number 2 last night as a starter. Ended up coming in as a pinch hitter late. Did play game number 1. Wasn't as explosive as some of his Pierre teammates, but that's a pretty high standard to hold him to, considering just how good the Pierre bats were in game number 1. But Rounds still a very dangerous threat, as you see the pitcher Kudna look back to second, trying to see if he can do anything about Lineback, and unable to. Camden Kubas was there, as well as Jack Price, playing second and shortstop respectively. Counts 1-0, and Rounds swings and misses at that low fastball. Count moves to 1-1. I mentioned the temperature and the feels like temperature earlier on in this broadcast, and it's for good reason. It's a bit of an unseasonably cold day, even for as far north as North Dakota. 62 degrees right now in Dickinson. Feels like 55 at the moment as the count goes to 2-1. So it definitely feels more like what you'd see in the fall of the year rather than the summer, but sometimes that's what you get living in the Dakotas. I'm sure all of you know that well back in the capital city. There's a strike. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Porter Hunsley currently on deck for Pierre. Post-8 trying to get the first runs of the game. Lineback in scoring position. There's the throw back to second, and Lineback just able to squeeze his way to the bag as the second baseman Kubas was all over it. And you know that Kudna, Kubas, and company would love, if at all possible, to get an out, especially on a guy who's dangerous on the base pass like Lineback. Here's a comebacker right to the mound. Kudna throws over to first, and they're able to take out just barely Trevor Rounds for out number 2 here in the top half of the second. Advancing to third is Ridge Lineback.
Number 17, Porter Huntley.
So the first run of the game for Pierre is currently at third base as Porter Hunsley heads to the plate. Rounds retired on that comebacker. Feels like some small drizzle beginning to come down maybe just a bit here in Dickinson. Apparently some of the Canadian wildfire haze has also made its way down here to Dickinson as well, probably contributing to the colder temperatures today. Blocking out the sun as the count goes to 1-1 for Porter Hunsley. That'll be felt to somewhat of a lesser degree in Pierre at some point throughout the day as well, if not already. As the pitch is low here, count goes to 2-1. And you hear a train horn blaring in the distance. That's a very familiar thing to hear if you're a post-8 fan. As that's a big strike for Kudna. Count goes to 2-2. Fit that one in perfectly. Again, top corner of the zone has favored him well so far. Looking for another strikeout on Hunsley. The 2-2 is placed outside. Count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And we got a payoff pitch coming up for the center fielder Hunsley. If he can make it through this at-bat, Grayson Hunsley is on deck. 3-2 with 2 outs, and it's going to be ruled as a strikeout. They say that Hunsley did go around right there, kind of half swung at it, and it was ruled as a swinging attempt. So that'll send us to the bottom half of the second. Pierre comes up empty. Ridge Linebach with a single, but that's all. Score remains 0-0. Back in 1 on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Is it the competition that keeps bringing you back? The long-standing rivalries? Or is it seeing friends again and cheering on your favorite team? At First Dakota, we're here for it all. We appreciate the fans, the players, the coaches and officials, the concessions crew. The shared community experience is part of what makes life here great, and we're here for it. See you at the game. First Dakota National Bank, member FDIC.
For over 60 years, Ferding Electric has been powering homes and businesses across central South Dakota. When you need reliable electrical service, trust the experts with decades of experience. Whether it's a simple residential repair, a complex commercial installation, or even electrical work on your farm, Ferding Electric has you covered. And if you're tired of searching everywhere for that hard-to-find bulb, Ferding Electric carries a wide selection of bulbs, including those hard-to-find fluorescent and specialty options. Visit us at 2903 East Elizabeth Street or call today, 605-224-8684.
Welcome back. Dickinson, North Dakota is popping this afternoon for post-day baseball right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports, live at Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark, home of the Dickinson State University baseball team, as well as the Northwoods League's Badlands Big Sticks, a team that I formerly called for in 2023. Got a lot of nostalgia pulling into Dickinson today. Met some folks from years gone by. It's been a pretty cool experience. Always fun to revisit a place from your past. But right now, it's all about pure post-day baseball, trying to get a couple wins on the road as Will Danberg fires in another strike, and the count goes to 0-1. It is Brady Hecker, the man who is at the plate, the third baseman for Dickinson in this game, followed by Cameron Wolf. He's currently on deck, and a swing and a miss. Count goes to 0-2. Will Danberg is picking him up and putting him down right now against this Dickinson lineup. Roughriders got 3 for 3 in the bottom half of the first inning, and Danberg trying to go 4 for 4 to start. He places this one outside. Count goes to 1-2. Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark has a turf infield, by the way, which can make the ball a little bit more difficult or easier to handle depending on who you ask. Here's a fly ball to center field. Back is Hunsley, and he will move up a couple steps to make the catch. 1 down in the bottom of the second. First really big contact we've seen made by a Dickinson player today, so the number 4 man in the order is retired. Cameron Wolf, the first baseman, will be the next man up. Cameron Wolf, another player who's been pretty darn solid with the bat this season. And he will be a big test for Will Danberg. But Danberg so far has been up to the task. Count goes to 0-1 as he's able to fit that one in beautifully just on the top of the outside corner. Another fastball here. This time they're going to rule it's a little bit inside. So the count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike. Cameron Wolf with a 188 average on the season. 435 on base percentage as Danberg fires in ball 2. 3 hits to his credit, 4 RBIs, and 3 runs as well. Dickinson coming off 2 straight losses in their last games, as that's a swing and a miss. Count goes to 2-2. Really digging for it that time was Wolf, and he caught nothing but oxygen. On the road at Fargo Post 2 was Dickinson back on Tuesday. Lost game 1 5-1, and there's a beautiful strikeout by Will Danberg, just painting the outside corner like he was a baseball version of Leonardo da Vinci. That's his second strikeout early on in this game. This time he catches Wolf looking, and that's 2 down in the bottom half of the second inning.
Number 11, Malachi Medina.
Great stuff from Will Danberg in the early going. So far, 5 up, 5 down against this Dickinson Rough Rider squad. As I was saying about Dickinson, Danberg fires in, why not, yet another strike. Lost 5-1 in game number 1 versus Fargo Post 2. Then lost the second game 10-0, both of those on the road. Dickinson has not lost a home game this season, but Pierre's defense is trying to make sure that that changes today, as that's a 6-3 put out for Carter Schuffelbein and the first baseman J.J. Buchholz. They retire Malachi Medina. 3 up, 3 down once again for Dickinson. It sends us to the top of the third with your score, donut hole between Pierre and the Dickinson Rough Riders. Back in 1 here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Venture Communications has deep roots in rural South Dakota. Venture now proudly provides fiber to the home with 100% of our customers, enabling them to enjoy super fast and reliable internet connections. We'd like the opportunity to keep you in touch with the people and resources that matter most. 100% fiber and 100% committed to rural South Dakota. Call Venture Communications today at 605-852-2224, 605-852-2224, or online at venturecom.net.
At Shane's Pharmacy, your health care is important, and Shane wants to be the pharmacist to take care of you. Shane's Pharmacy will make sure your prescriptions are filled in a timely manner, they will answer your questions, and they will even deliver to your home or office. Call 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy, the pharmacy you know and trust. The number again is 223-9200. Shane's Pharmacy in Fort Pierre, proud to support high school athletics.
Welcome back. This is Post-State Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Your scoreboard courtesy of the American Family Insurance Brittany Schuffelbein Agency. Thank you, Brittany and American Family Insurance, for sponsoring our scoreboard each and every game. So far, no score between Pierre and Dickinson, but a man at the plate right now will be looking to change that. Grayson Hunsley, the number 8 man in the order. He'll be followed by Hudson Stosher and Carter Schuffelbein. 8-9-1 to start here in this top half of the third inning. Chopper by Grayson Hunsley, shortstop on a knee, throws to first, and he got there in time. Tremendous web gem by Jack Price. 1 down here in the top of the third. That's one of the best defensive plays we've seen in a good bit to get the 6-3 on Grayson Hunsley. Jack Price, a really solid defensive player, and he showed you why right there. Literally on a knee, had to basically without thought, just instinctually get that ball to first as quickly as he could, and somehow off balance, he was able to do it. 1 and out, and 1 down in the top of the third. Now it's Hudson Stosher at the plate. He had a wild play last night in game number 2 versus Spearfish. A Little League inside the park home run. Got all the way to third on a triple, and then a throwing error by Spearfish would send him all the way home. This count goes to 0-2. And the chances of seeing that again today are obviously slim, but hey, you never say never. Stosher swing and a miss, and he goes 3 pitches, 3 strikes, and he's down in the top half of the third inning. 2 down for Pierre as Carter Schuffelbein will head to the plate. That is now strikeout number 3 for Kyler Krudna, the pitcher. So he is having his way with the Pierre post-8 bats thus far. Schuffelbein grounded out to second his last time up, and he'll swing and miss here. Count goes to 0-1 just like that. Krudna is really starting to get into a rhythm as this game progresses. We kind of saw the same thing last night with Braden Hollett in game number 2. Started off a little bit rusty as that's fouled back. Count goes to 0-2 for Schuffelbein, but after giving up 3 runs in the first inning, he did not give up a single run the rest of the way that he was in, as that is inside for ball number 1. Didn't quite finish the game, had to be subbed out with 2 outs remaining just due to the pitch limit. Here's an opposite field shot that's going to be fouled out to the new Big Sticks concourse area over there. That was not here when I was an intern. It's been added since then, probably part of those new Northwoods League upgrades. Looks like it's known as the Yard officially, so I haven't gotten to ask my friend Jason about that. May have to do that after the games are over. 1-2 count. Fastball is not quite in the zone. Count goes to 2-2, a little bit high that time. One thing Schuffelbein's really good at is plate recognition. he's using it right here. Here's a chopper right to the shortstop. And Jack Price, the Price is right, able to get yet another out as he takes care of Carter Shufflebein on a 6-3. And again, 3 up, 3 down for Pierre. The score remains 0-0. A defensive and pitching masterclass on both sides so far. Back in 1 to DCB&T on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Yag Air Incorporated is your locally owned ag chemical and seed retailer. Yag Air Incorporated offers reliable ground and aerial application. For the latest seed and chemical pricing, contact Kyle at 605-280-8710 or Tony at 605-280-4771. Yag Air for all your ag chemical and seed needs. Kyle, 605-280-8710 or Tony, 605-280-4771.
You just got a quote from a company and are now being billed for not choosing them. Many contracts have what's referred to as a contingency agreement. These typically state that if you don't go with them, you, after insurance has approved the repair work, will be charged a percentage of the job they quoted. Ask up front if they charge to provide an estimate. Never sign anything that you haven't fully read or understand. If you have any questions, reach out to the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986.
Welcome back. This is Post-Day Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Dylan Simmons on the call with you today. John Winkler's back at the station running the board. Appreciate John taking his time on this Friday afternoon. Jen Brazilius will be running game number 2 on the board. By the way, for you folks listening in, always appreciate our board ops and all the great things that they do for KCCR. Cannot put the broadcast together without them and their outstanding efforts, so want to send them a much-deserved thank you. Bottom half of the third, the score is still 0-0 between Post-8 and Dickinson. Both the Roughriders and Pierre defensively have just been really hard to do anything with whenever the bats have been in position. There's a strike as Will Danberg continues his hot start. Count goes to 0-1. As the man at the plate for Dickinson for the first time is Nick Sobolik, the center fielder. And he'll swing and miss at this one as well. Counts 0-2. It's been 3 up, 3 down both times for Dickinson through the first 2 innings. We'll see if that trend continues here in the third. Sobolik with a .312 average on the season, a .646 OPS to go along with 5 total hits, all of them singles, 4 RBIs, 3 runs. First ball thrown by Danberg here in the bottom half of the third leads to a 1-2. Danberg, as this one's lifted right to the second baseman line to Hudson Stosher. And that is out number 1 emphatically for Pierre here in the bottom of the third as they quickly retire Nick Sobolik. So just when Dickinson had made some solid contact with the baseball, it just goes right to Hudson Stosher. So that's a bit of a tough break for them. Place that one in the 4-3 or 5-6 hole, and maybe we're talking about a different story. But instead, it's out number 1. Danberg will load up that fastball again and place it outside. Count moves to 1-0. Got a chance to stop by Theodore Roosevelt National Park on the way up here for about 20 minutes or so. Beautiful national park, really underrated. If you ever get the chance to come up to this part of North Dakota, definitely check it out. This is going to be an opposite field foul ball that lands near the ice machines over there at DCB&T. As the count will even at 1-1 strike for Christian Tibor, who's the man currently at the plate, the right fielder for Dickinson. Tibor wearing the number 1 with a ground ball to second. Stosher right there. 4-3 put out, easy for Pierre. 2 down in the bottom half of the third inning as Tibor is quickly retired. And that's been really the result of most of these at-bats for Dickinson thus far. There's been contact on occasion, but it's usually been weaker ground balls that are pretty easy for Pierre to deal with. The one line out was just a second ago by Nick Sobolik. Otherwise, it's been easy pickings for the Post-8 defense. And this is going to be a shot into the 5-6 hole. Great play by the shortstop, but Shovelbein's not going to be able to get it to first in time. And it's going to be a single for Camden Kubas, who steps up to the plate and delivers. The 9-hole hitter with a 2-out single here in the bottom half of the third. And that is just the second hit in this game, one by Pierre and one by Dickinson now. So the runner at first is Kubas as we go back to the top of the order. Jack Price will take over. He grounded out to short his last time up, and now Kubas representing the first run of the game for either side. He's currently 270 feet away from home plate, showing bunt for the moment, and now throwing on to second and getting there safely with a stolen base is Camden Kubas. Took the risk and he managed to capitalize, and Jack Price had no intention of swinging at that pitch, it appears. Pulled back from the bunt at the last second, and that momentary distraction allowed Kubas to get on to second base. So nicely done by Dickinson in that situation. Works to perfection. And now the Roughriders with a runner in scoring position. One extra thing for Will Danberg to keep an eye on as the count is 1-0. Here's a chopper right to Grayson Hunsley. Throws on to first. So the stolen base won't matter as Pierre manages a 5-3 putout. Dickinson does get their first hit of the game, but the score remains 0-0 here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark. We'll be back in 1 minute right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Summer is here, and Beck Motor Company is stepping up to the plate. As a proud supporter of Legion Baseball, we're hitting it out of the park with unbeatable deals on the Chevy and Cadillac vehicles. Whether you're looking for the power of a Chevy Silverado or the luxury of a Cadillac Escalade, Beck Motor Company has the perfect ride for you. So swing by today. Take your game and your drive to the next level. Beck Motor Company, your local Chevy and Cadillac dealer. Proud to support our youth and ready to put you behind the wheel of your dream vehicle. www.beck-motors.com, 605-224-5912.
Walking together in faith, living together in faith, working together in faith, that's who we are.
Hi, this is Pastor Sam Hanschke. I hope that our athletes have an excellent and successful season. I pray that God would continue to richly bless them. I invite you to join me in praying for our athletes during the year.
We're Faith Lutheran and we are glad you're here.
Welcome back. This is Post-State Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday. Dylan Simmons here as we've reached the top of the fourth between Dickinson and Pierre. Sutton Sun and Shine at the plate. The catcher leading off in this frame. 2, 3, 4 due up in the order for Post-State. Sun and Shine, Cooper Terwilliger, and Ridge Leimbach. And here's a massive line shot delivered by Sutton Sunshine, and he is aboard with a leadoff single in the top half of the fourth inning. You just knew that at some point Pierre was going to find a way to get somebody on base, and they were able to with Sutton Sunshine right there. Runner aboard for Post-State, and now we'll see if that can start to wake up this offense as we approach the middle stages of this game. Cooper Terwilliger flew out to center his last time up, the most that Pierre's been managed to get on a ball in this game. There's a strike. Count goes to 0-1. Kyler Krudna still on the mound and doing a pretty good job of it. Got three strikeouts in this game thus far. Terwilliger fouls this one back. Looked like that one may have went off of his left shin. Not sure, but either way, the count is going to be 0-2 now. Sutton Sun and Shine at first. Hoping Terwilliger can send him home. Terwilliger entering the weekend with a .500 batting average. Watches this one go by for ball one. But again, a .500 average, 6 total hits, 1 double, and a .750 slugging percentage. As Kudna looks to do something with Sutton Sun and Shine and cannot. Terwilliger with the overall best batting average on the team entering the weekend. And he's gonna almost add to it right here, but a great defensive play by the second baseman, and they get the double play. They got the out on Sun and Shine and Terwilliger. What a job by Camden Kubas to scoop up that baseball from the turf, get it to second, and then quickly getting it to first was Jack Price. A huge double play here in the top half of the fourth. That is 2 quickly down for Pierre. So a really unfortunate break for Post 8, but a tremendous defensive play by Camden Kubas. And that is an astonishing turn for a Post 8 team that looked like for a second may get 2 men on base. Terwilliger certainly had that one looking like it was going to get into the outfield. Kubas had to extend with every bit of his wingspan and somehow was able to get that one to stay in his glove. Now Ridge Linebach sends a chopper left side. Throw on to first is delivered by Brady Hecker to Cameron Wolf for a 5-3. And that will do it for the top of the fourth. Pierre does get a single with Sutton Sunshine, but that's it. Score remains 0-0 as we move on to the bottom of the fourth in this Usain Bolt pace of a game. Back in one here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Has it been years since you've been to the dentist? Are you afraid to see a dentist? If so, you are among many people who feel this way. Hi, I am Dr. Michelle Hofer of Missouri River Dentistry. At our office, we pride ourselves as an office that uses a personal touch to offer gentle dentistry, tailored to fit each patient's needs. We do so by utilizing state-of-the-art equipment and methods which allow the patients to feel comfortable. So whether it has been many years or 6 months since your last dental visit, your oral health is important. We invite you to call us at Missouri River Dentistry, 223-2021, 223-2021.
Are you a farmer in the Highmore area? Do you need a trusted partner for your grain and agronomy needs? Look no further than AgTegra. AgTegra is built on a legacy of farmer-owned cooperatives, providing superior service and relentless innovation for generations. We're committed to your success and the safety of our employees and members. For your grain needs, call Chance Scott at 605-846-1099. And for all your agronomy needs, reach out to Cole Hamlin at 605-871-9572. AgTegra, growing together for generations. Welcome back to Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark. Dylan Simmons with you on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. And the score is still goose egg to goose egg between Pierre Post 8 and the Dickinson Roughriders as we've reached the bottom half of the fourth inning. The pitcher Kyler Kudna, is the man on the mound at the plate against the man on the mound, Will Danberg. Got all twisted up there. Danberg can leave that kind of impression on you with the way he's been pitching in this game. Already with 2 strikeouts, and he's left really no opportunity for Dickinson to break through thus far. But the problem is that the Post 8 bats have not been able to manage anything consistently either. So it's been a staring contest, for lack of a better term, for most of this game. This is a chopper fair. Hunsley barehanded, throws on to first, and he couldn't get it there in time. Able to outrun the throw was Kyler Kudna. He's safe at first base with what looks like is going to be a single for the Dickinson Roughriders. So runner aboard for Dickinson. Hunsley did what he could in that situation. It was a slow-moving chopper, and again, Hunsley had to barehand it, threw it on to first, but he could not outrace the speed of Kudna, one of the fastest players on this Rough Rider squad. Jake Balliet to the plate, runner on first with no outs. First hit that Will Danberg has given up in this game as he lets that pitch come in. Count goes to 1-0. He has not allowed Dickinson, like I said, to break through. Actually, it's the second hit that he's given up. I was about to say Camden Kubas was the first man to get a hit. That came in the third inning, but Dickinson was not able to do anything with it. Count moves to 2-0. Jake Balliet trying to get some leverage here. 273 average on the season, 6 total hits for the Rough Riders. That includes a triple and 2 home runs. He's the power hitter, and he leads the team with 8 RBIs. Runner goes on to second. Here's the throw. Did they get him in time? They did not. Great effort by Sutton Sunshine. Got it to Carter Shufflebein as fast as he could, but it's going to be a stolen base for Kyler Kudna. Again, using his speed, and it kills, especially in situations like that. Now a runner in scoring position for Dickinson with the count at 2-1 after the Will Danberg strike. Brady Hecker is on deck. Jake Balliet, the power hitter at the plate, trying to deliver an earth-shattering shot, as that's ball number 3. Pitch went a little wide for Actually, they're going to say that's strike 2, so they're going to say a 2-2 count now officially. Apologize for that one, folks, but we've got 2 balls, 2 strikes. Keeping a close eye on second is Will Danberg. This ball slap fouled up towards where the bouncy houses would normally be here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark for Big Sticks games. As I understand it, Badlands is currently on the road right now in Northwoods League play. Counts 2-2. Runner at second for Dickinson. And here's a fly ball out to left field. Balliet showing that power, but it's not going to matter as Ridge Linebaugh is able to gather that one easily for out number 1. So good work by Ridge Linebaugh to get underneath that baseball. Balliet had that one travel a pretty fair distance. It's 320 to left field here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark. 375 to straightaway center, so not as deep as some of the stadiums we've seen this season, including Black Hills Energy Stadium last night in Spearfish, but still a long way to go, and Balliet, especially facing this wind, just not enough. This is going to be delivered towards left and fouled, as Brady Hecker is now at the plate. Count moves to 0-1. Man on deck is Cameron Wolf. The first baseman struck out looking his first time up. Hecker flew out to center. Runner at second is Kyler Kudna. Reached on a single earlier on in this frame. Counts 0-1. Danberg delivers. Here's a shot into center, and that's easy pickings for Porter Hunsley. Retreating back to the bag at second base is Kyler Kudna, as there's now 2 away here in the bottom of the 4th.
First baseman, number 15, Cameron Wolf.
Cameron Wolf, the next man up, and as I mentioned a second ago, he struck out looking against Will Danberg in his last at-bat. Dickinson as a team thus far this season with a .270 batting average, a .383 on-base percentage, 54 hits, 6 doubles, 3 home runs total, and 41 RBIs. Kind of similar numbers to what Pierre has. Of course, they've had less games, Dickinson that is, to inflate those numbers, so they're not going to be an exact match. Pierre playing 11 total games and Dickinson 8 so far, as the count is at 0-1 for Cameron Wolf. Danberg watching Kudna like a hawk, trying to stay in communication with Shufflebind. Great outside pitch by Will Danberg to get strike number 2 on Cameron Wolf. Somehow was able to fit that one into the outside corner. Wolf had to swing at it, and he caught nothing but oxygen. 0-2 pitch as Danberg looks to get strikeout number 3 in this game. Hasn't gotten one since the first inning, or check at the second inning. This is going to be fouled towards the parking lot, right towards where the KCCR mobile is, and I'm just hoping and praying that that does not get hit at any point today. In theory, it shouldn't. I parked it pretty far away, but you just never know. I've heard stories here at Dickinson of plenty of cars' windshields getting smashed up. I'd have to call John Sterling on that one. Here's a fly ball to right center field. Rounds camping underneath it, and he makes the catch for out number 3. So Dickinson does get a hit with Kyler Kudna, but much like Pierre in the bottom of the 4th, that's all they managed to do. The score remains 0-0. Post 8 will have a chance to take the first lead of the game in 1 minute's time when we come back on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Have you ever wondered what the benefits are of becoming a Owyhee Federal Credit Union member? At Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we reinvest profits in you. We do this in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and low to no fees. So come check us out or come in at 221 East Pleasant Drive in Pierre, because at Owyhee Federal Credit Union, we treat our members like they own the place because, well, they do.
Owyhee Federal Credit Union.
Most of us already know that Gales Gas of Pierre is the place to call for propane. They offer an automatic fill plan so you never have to worry about running out of propane. They accept debit and credit payments or a budget payment plan to spread out the cost throughout the year so you never have surprises when you get your bill. For delivery, convenience, and great customer service, call Gales Gas at 224-5518. That's Gales Gas at 224-5518.
Welcome back to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. your home for all things post-8 baseball, KCCR, as your 8s are down, or rather tied, in a score of 0-0 with the Dickinson Roughriders. We've reached the top of the 5th inning. J.J. Buckholtz is the man at the plate. Lets this pitch go by from Kyler Kudna as the count goes to 0-1. Kudna's had a great day so far. Already 3 strikeouts against this post-8 starting roster, and a swing and a miss by Buckholtz. Count goes to 0-2 just like that. JJ struck out looking his first time up. And that's going to be a strikeout. Wow, what a sequence to start for Kyler Kudna. 3 pitches, 3 strikes on J.J. Buckholtz. 1/3 of an immaculate inning, and for the second straight time, he catches Buckholtz looking. Trevor Rounds, the next man up, grounded a comebacker right to Kudna his last time up, as he lets this one go by, and that goes in for a strike. Counts 0-1. Kudna has just been so consistent with his fastball, much like Danberg, that it's been hard for anyone to find the leverage they need to make a play. And the way that we've been going, it may come down to who can outlast the pitch limit before it eventually makes an appearance. Both players far from it right now, but at some point in time, if this game remains scoreless, that may come into effect, especially if it goes to extra innings. 2-1. Rounds swings and misses at that off-speed pitch. Electric stuff from Kyler Kudna. Count moves to 2-2. We said prior to the game starting that he had a lot of success on the mound this year, and he's showing you that that is the case, as that is chopped and fouled to keep the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Kudna with a 2.80 earned run average on the season. He's had just 1 hit by pitch all year. Only 3 strikeouts to his name before this game began. He's added to that today, as this is a bouncing ball to center. Throw on to first by the shortstop is going to be in time. Another great play by Jack Price. That's the 2nd time he's stolen away what should have been a sure hit for a post-8 player. This time he gets Trevor Rounds, and it's out number 2 here in the top half of the 5th inning. Look for sure like that one was going to be able to get into center field, but Jack Price said not today. Porter Hunsley will be the next man up, and that was a great diving play to even get a glove on it. Price really had to race after it to have a chance to do something with it, as the count is 1-0, make it 1-1 after the foul ball by Hunsley. And it's been defensive plays like that that has allowed Dickinson to keep this game at 0-0. Various web gems in this game. 1-1 pitch. Hunsley lets the high fastball go by, and the count moves to 2-1 here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark, as the sun is beginning to make a slight appearance, perhaps. That's in there for a strike. Counts 2-2. It's been overcast basically the entire day here in western North Dakota. Check swing, and they're going to say he went around. Another strikeout for Kyler Kudna. He now has 5 in this game, 2 in that inning alone, and it's 3 up, 3 down for Pierre once again. We move on to the bottom half of the 5th with your score: Pierre 0, Dickinson also 0. Back in 1 here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping wants to make it easy for you to get that lush green lawn and that yard haven that you've been dreaming of. Visit dakotasprinkler.com to make appointments for sprinkler system spring startup, service calls, fall winterization, and landscaping quotes. Trust Dakota Sprinkler and Landscaping's professionals to get you through the planning and installation to make your landscaping needs a reality. Visit dakotasprinkler.com today.
Hey you. Are you at a job that is fulfilling, has good benefits to support you or a family today, and retirement goes down the road? If you just said no, listen up. CHS River Plains is hiring operations personnel, drivers, and custom applicators at several locations. These come with a knockout affordable benefit package for you and the whole family. Apply to a job with CHS River Plains and up your benefits straight up. To apply, visit us online at chsriverplains.com or stop in at one of our locations. CHS is an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back. This is Post-8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Dylan Simmons with you in the bottom half of the 5th inning of game number 1 of today's doubleheader in western North Dakota between Pierre and Dickinson. And we still have no score. It has been a pitching masterclass for Kyler Kudna and Will Danberg thus far. We expected that could be a possibility with the great pitching that both of these players have displayed all season long, and it is coming to roost here. Malachi Medina, the first man up, and he pops one up to the right side. Hudson Stoscher's right there, makes the catch for out number 1. So Stoscher wasting no time to take care of Malachi Medina, who's now popped one up to second and grounded out to short in his first 2 times up. Nick Sobolik will be the next man up, lined out to second in his first AB of the game. Dickinson, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, wearing white shirts with black stripes running across. Not sure exactly what the look is modeled after, but it is a nice look. Count goes to 1-0. Kind of looks like a zebra in a way. I know that's usually reserved for the officials, but it almost looks more like a zebra pattern than even what the officials have if you look at it in that fashion. As the count goes to 2-0. I'm sure it wasn't a zebra that they were trying to model it after, but that's what it reminds me of. But the funny thing about art is that it's always in the eyes of the beholder, right? Well, actually, they say that about beauty, but I think the same thing could be said about art, right? Counts 2-1. You guys know what I'm talking about. Christian Tibor is the man on deck for Dickinson at the moment as Danberg fires in strike number 2. And where there's a will, there's a way. That's been the motto for Will Danberg and Pierre thus far in this game. And Danberg has given them no reason to question his willpower, as this is a comebacker over the mound. Stoscher has to make a move to get it, gets it on to first for a nice 4-3 putout. Takes care of Sobolik in great fashion. Had to make a evasive maneuver to get after that baseball. Took an odd hop to the right, or rather to the left, of Will Danberg, and he was still able to get to it in time, and then kind of off balance on a rope, got it to J.J. Buchholz for the out. Just 4 combined hits between these 2 teams thus far in the game, 2 for Pierre and 2 for Dickinson, as we see Christian Tibor make his way to the plate. Tibor will foul this one towards the parking lot. Count moves to no balls and 1 strike. Camden Kubis is the man on deck. He does have one of the 2 hits for Dickinson in this game, which they need anything they can get right now against Will Danberg's dominant stuff, and he continues to display that with another strike right here. Count moves to 0-2. Will Danberg entered today's game with a 3.00 earned run average. He will definitely lower that with what he's shown so far. And if he keeps that going into the 6th and 7th innings, he will certainly have a lot to show for it. Count goes to 1-2. Danberg placed that last pitch in a little bit low. Here's an opposite field shot to right, racing after it and not getting to it is Trevor Rounds, and it is going to be a single for Christian Tibor. The 3rd hit of the game for the Dickinson Roughriders. It comes at the hands of Tibor in his 2nd at-bat, and Dickinson has a man aboard here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. A big break for the Roughriders, and now we'll see if Camden Kubis can add to what he's already done against Will Danberg, who has a rare lapse in this game. So now he's got to worry about the runner on the base path, which hasn't been too big of an issue thus far. They've had runners on base before, and they've been able to dispatch of them without too much trouble. But we saw in last night's doubleheader against Spearfish how if you don't execute the right way when that situation comes up, it can really come back to bite you. Danberg slowing down his tempo now. Ground ball to 3rd. Hunsley gets it on to 1st for out number 3, and a nice 5-3 putout. So once again, Dickinson able to get a hit, this time with Christian Tibor, but not able to capitalize on it. And again, the score remains 0-2-0. We got a great defensive masterclass going on here in Dickinson. Back in 1 minute for the top of the 6th right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Pure Post 8 Bats coming up next.
Larry Fry Heating and Cooling has a new name. Kruger Climate Systems has acquired Larry Fry Heating and Cooling, but it's still the same great service. Your friend Larry Fry is still a manager, and his dedication to providing you with outstanding service remains unwavering. The same quality products and services you have come to expect from Larry Fry Heating and Cooling will continue under the new leadership of Kruger Climate Systems. You can still reach us at 605-224-9548 or email us at ryan@krugercontracting.com. Kruger Climate Systems, your certified Trane and Mitsubishi dealer in Central South Dakota.
Step up to the plate with Kathy Sunshine Properties in Pierre, your go-to for buying, selling, and finding your perfect home. Whether you're looking for a cozy cottage or a spacious family home, Kathy Sunshine Properties has you covered. We're committed to helping you make your next big move, on the field or in your life. Ready to find your dream home? Call Kathy Sunshine Properties at 605-224-5588. Your home run in real estate.
Welcome back. This is Pure Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Appreciate you sticking with us here on this Friday afternoon through all the great gameplay we've seen and all the mistakes that you may hear out of my mouth. Count goes to 1-1. Grayson Hunsley, thus far in this game, grounded out to short in his first time up to the bat. Lets that pitch go by. Count moves to 2-1. Hudson Stosher will be the next man up. Struck out looking in his first AB of the game. Wasting no time here is Kyler Kudna, trying to increase the tempo, but he places that pitch outside, and the count moves to 3-1, in danger of issuing the first walk of the game for either side. And he will. Pitch that one well to the outside, and a 5-pitch walk is forced by Grayson Hunsley. And Pierre's got a man aboard for the first time since the top half of the fourth inning with Sutton Sunshine. A leadoff walk, a good way to start here in this late stage of the game. Hudson Stosher will be the next man up. Struck out looking in his first at-bat of the game, as I mentioned just a second ago. Now trying to join Grayson Hunsley on base and make it that much more feasible for Pierre to score a run here late in the game. He's going to lay down a bunt along the first base line. Underhand toss by the pitcher to first, and they're able to get the out on Hudson Stosher. But the bunt does its job and sends Grayson Hunsley on to second base. Pierre now with a runner in scoring position after that transaction, and one down in the top of the sixth.
Number 1, Carter Scheffelbein.
Carter Scheffelbein will be the next man up to the plate. He's been quiet by his standards so far, but basically everyone has. Grounded out to second in his first at-bat, grounded out to short in his second. That strike delivered well by Kudna. Count goes to 0-1 as he placed it in the top right corner over the plate. Scheffelbein has made timely hits before. If you'll remember back to the Sioux Falls East doubleheader 10 days ago, in game number 1, he was able to get a tying RBI in the top of the 7th to bring the game to extra innings. Pierre ended up losing that game, but Scheffelbein still able to do that regardless. So he's shown a capability to have timely hits in the past. And if he can do that again right here, he'll put Post State in a position to take control of this game, take the lead, and manage their third straight win of this two-day doubleheader set. Counts 0-2. Sutton Sunshine, who does have a hit in this game, is currently on deck as well. One away. Pitch by Kudna. Scheffelbein driving one to right field. It's going to land in the yard, and the count will move, or rather stay at 0-2, as it just missed, being potentially in the far right corner. Had a little too much power underneath it, though. Scheffelbein will have to try again. 0-2 pitch on the way from Kudna, and it's outside for ball one. Good read by Scheffelbein on that pitch. Post State as a team entered this week's action with a .393 slugging percentage, 70 hits, 10 triples, 52 runs, and 42 walks forced. And they've been increasing those numbers, but there's a line shot that's delivered right to the first baseman, Cameron Wolf, somehow able to just leap up and catch that thing right out of midair as it was screaming its way towards right field. 2 down in the top of the 6th. Really nice job by Wolf to, one, have the awareness to realize where the ball was going, and 2 hold on to that baseball with the hot sauce that Carter Shufflebein had put on it. Sutton Sunshine now to the plate. This pitch comes in low, and the count moves to 1-0. Shufflebein out. Sunshine did get a single his last time up. Grounded out to third in his first at-bat of the game. Runner at second again for Post 8 is Grayson Hunsley. Forced a leadoff walk to start things off here in the top of the 6th. Counts 1-1 on Sunshine, who's had his struggles this season, but he's also been on point when others have faltered in the past. And he's doing that today as that ball gets away from the catcher for Dickinson. And moving on to third is Grayson Hunsley on the wild pitch by Kyler Kudna. Malachi Medina unable to hold it. And now the first run of the game is 90 feet away for Pierre. And the count is at 2-1 for Sunshine. So a nice break for Pierre as the usually stout Kyler Krudna has made a couple mistakes here in this late juncture of the game. And in the top of the 6th, it's helped Grayson Hunsley tremendously to go 270 feet. And we've got a high pitch. Count moves to 3-1. The wind is picking up just a little bit. Could be affecting the velocity and direction of that baseball right now. Kutna will have to account for it. 3-1. Fastball is going to be chopped to the left side. Long way to go on the throw, and it's not going to make it in time. A run scores for Pierre. Hunsley comes home, and Sutton Sunshine delivers. Pierre on top 1-0. It looked like a tough play to make for the shortstop, Jack Price. He did everything he could to try to get that throw off balance to first base, but he was unable to get it there in time, and an RBI single for Sutton Sunshine delivers the first run of the game. Sunshine now 2 for 3, and Pierre in position to maybe get this one on the road. Cooper Terwilliger comes to the plate after that big-time swing by Sutton Sunshine. He put that chopper in the perfect spot to where Price was able to get to it, but it was so far away from first base that it was hard for him to make that throw in that position. Here's another chopper by Terwilliger to third. This should be easier to handle, and it is a nice throw by Brady Hecker that gets to Cameron Wolf for out number 3. But Pierre is the first team on the scoreboard. Sutton Sunshine with an RBI single. Pierre on top 1-0 on the road, trying to claim the first of today's 2 games in the doubleheader. Back in 1 on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
AGE Corporation has been building South Dakota for over 60 years. For all your site work, construction, and crane needs, AGE is there for you. If you need a boat dock and dock lighting, AGE has what you need. Visit their website, agecorp.com, or give them a call at 223-2732. AGE Corporation, providing high-quality services without sacrificing safety. Visit agecorp.com or call 223-2732.
As community bankers, BankWest employees are deeply committed to supporting local causes, growing the local economy, and creating local opportunities. At a time when you can bank anywhere, we hope you choose BankWest. We'll be your financial partner for the long haul, helping you and your community achieve financial success. BankWest. Convenient, connected, committed. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to Post 8 Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. The American Family Insurance Brittany Shufflebein scoreboard got lit up in the top of the 6th by courtesy of one Sutton Sunshine. An RBI single delivered towards left field brought home Grayson Hunsley and brought the score to 1-0. Pierre on top in this game. They got an opportunity and they did not miss out on it, and that's what you have to do in these low-scoring games. When pitchers are playing as perfect as they have been, you got to take advantage of those lapses of concentration, for lack of a better term, and use it to your advantage. That's what Pierre did, and now that little bit of daylight could be all they need to secure game number 1. We'll see. Counts 1-0 as we go back to the top of the order for Dickinson. Jack Price at the plate. He's grounded out to short and grounded out to third his first 2 times up. Count goes to 2-0, and now Will Danberg has to be aware of what just happened with his contemporary Kyler Krudna, as time's called by Jack Price. Wants to check over that bat for just a second. Actually, they're going to say the count's 1-1. So they called a strike on one of those. Even count, swing and a miss, make it a 1-2. Great fastball by Will Danberg, and the wind's helping him right now. It's pushing right to the plate. Makes it harder for these batters because the velocity of the ball becomes inconsistent, and you have to almost guesstimate what's going to happen to it, and you wonder if that is partially what happened to Jack Price right there. Post 8 with a team ERA of 5.36 entering the weekend, 48 earned runs allowed, 50 total strikeouts. They tremendously added to those numbers yesterday, and Will Danberg is only increasing that here today in game 1. Ground ball to short, shuffle behind there, takes it on the hop, throws to first, gets it to Buchholz for out number 1. Great defensive execution by Pierre. That's one thing that has not been lacking today. They have been stout defensively, where in yesterday's game against Spearfish, especially in game number 2, they made some untimely mistakes. Had those multiple errors. They have not had a single error thus far in game 1. Of course, that could be the announcer's jinx waiting to happen, as that's delivered right to the left fielder, Ridge Leimbach. What a play as he came racing across the left field area to catch up to that baseball and retire Kyler Kudna. I don't know how Leimbach was able to catch up to that ball. It was headed its way all the way, or heading on its way all the way to the wall, but it just didn't quite have the distance, and Leimbach able to show wheels that I don't know if we've seen this season from him. He's been fast, don't get me wrong, but he was able to find a way to just get to that baseball in a hurry. Count goes to 1-0. Leimbach, not known as much as a speed guy, but he showed a lot of it right there, and if you're going to be an outfielder, you got to have some speed. Leimbach, of course, one of the oldest players on this Pierre roster, adds a lot of veteran experience, veteran leadership, and a veteran play style, and he's displayed it to great effect all season long. 2-0 pitch to the man at the plate, Jake Balliot, and he sends it right to Ridge Leimbach for out number 3. Post 8's defense steps up once again, 3 up, 3 down for the Dickinson Roughriders, and we move on to the top of the 7th with your score: Pierre 1, Roughriders 0. Is that all Post 8 needs, or will they add some insurance to increase the lead in just a second? We'll find out in 1 minute right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. Are you a farmer in the Highmore area? Do you need a trusted partner for your grain and agronomy needs? Look no further than AgTegra. AgTegra is built on a legacy of farmer-owned cooperatives, providing superior service and relentless innovation for generations. We're committed to your success and the safety of our employees and members. For your grain needs, call Chance Scott at 605-846-1099. And for all your agronomy needs, reach out to Cole Hamlin at 605-871-9572. AgTegra, growing together for generations.
Hello, I'm Pastor Jeff Lathrop of Pierre First United Methodist Church, and I'd like to invite you to join us in person for worship on Sunday mornings at 8:30 a.m. or 11 a.m. You can also join us on Facebook Live or on KCCR 1240 a.m. or 98.9 FM for our Sunday morning broadcast at 11 a.m. Come worship with us at First United Methodist Church, where you will find open hearts, open minds, and open doors.
Welcome back here on KCCR as the ball is thrown on to first base, and out at first base is Ridge Leimbach, who just sent a comebacker over the mound, picked up by the shortstop Jack Price and thrown on to first for a 4-3 putout. 1 down here in the top half of the 7th inning with your score: Pierre 1, Dickinson 0. Almost said Spearfish. I knew that might end up happening. We were just in Spearfish last night for a doubleheader between Post 8 and Spearfish Post 164. Of course, Pierre winning both of those games in dominant fashion. Thus far today, it's not been dominance, but Pierre has been able to find a way to take a 1-0 lead. It has been dominance by the pitcher, Will Danberg. The offense has been lacking to some degree, but that's only because of the great pitching of Kyler Kudna and the great defense that we have seen from the Dickinson Roughriders. But in a timely situation in the top of the 6th, Sutton Sunshine able to deliver an RBI single. And right now, that is the difference in this game, as that pitch is low from Kudna. Count goes to 2-2. Both pitchers nowhere near their pitch limit in this game, so we should be able to play this one through, barring extra innings. That one fouled towards the parking lot, keeping the count at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Still just 1 away here in the top of the 7th. Buchholz has struck out looking the 2 times he's met Kudna in this game, and he's going to get struck out again looking. That is the 3rd straight time that he has been caught looking by Kudna, and it's been in, again, very similar fashion, kind of just misidentifying where the pitch is going to end up, and it ends up slipping by him. So 2 down in the top of the 7th as Trevor Rounds makes his way to the plate. He has grounded out twice thus far, as that pitch is a little high, counts 1-0. Porter Hunsley, the man currently on deck, if Rounds makes it through this at-bat. That pitch low. Count moves to 2-0. Post-State in the middle of a 19-day stretch without a home game. They have not played at home since May 29th against Brookings. This is their last road doubleheader until they go back home for Tuesday's doubleheader against, Sturgis. Counts 3-0 now. Trevor Rounds is going to force a 4-pitch walk, so rare mistake from Kyler Kudna in this game. He's been so on point, but he has issued a couple walks at different intervals, and we just saw another one right there. Top of the 6th, it was Grayson Hunsley who has scored the lone run for Pierre in this game, so Kudna, despite his dominance, has made a couple of mistakes that have cost Dickinson in this situation, but to win this game right now as a pitcher, it requires basically perfection, and even the slightest mistake is enhanced that much at this juncture. Counts 1-0, make it 1-1 for Porter Hunsley. He's got Grayson Hunsley waiting on deck, who again scored that lone run for Pierre, courtesy of Sutton Sun and Shine in the top of the 6th. Here's the throw back to first, just able to get back in time was Trevor Rounds, who was pretty well off the bag, and Cameron Wolf was waiting on the throw from Malachi Medina. Count is going to be 2-1 for Porter Hunsley, with 2 away here in the top of the 7th. Trying to add a little insurance to the scoreboard. And that pitch skips in low, counts 3-1, and the sure-handed Kyler Kudna is in danger of potentially issuing a 2nd straight walk. Kudna will have to really zone in here, and he's not going to be able to. Delivers ball 4, and Porter Hunsley moves on to first. That's 2 straight walks issued by the starting pitcher. And we're going to see a meeting on the mound as the Dickinson Roughriders coaching staff makes their way out of the dugout to talk to Kyler Kudna. No action right now in the Dickinson bullpen, and they're going to leave him out there. Just wanted to make sure everything was okay. You just don't want to make this 1-run deficit any worse, especially with the infrequency of the offenses in this game. So better safe than sorry. You understand why they want to take a moment to discuss things there. Runners on first and second for Post-State. Grayson Hunsley reached base last time on a walk, and the 2 men currently on base did the same just a few moments ago. Hudson Stosher is currently on deck for Post-State, the number 9 man in the order. 2 outs. Here's a chopper that's fouled. Count moves to 0-1. By the way, stick around after the conclusion of game number 1. We'll have the KCCR Sports post-game show recapping all of the action from game number 1 and previewing game number 2 of today's doubleheader. Count is 0-1 for Hunsley, and that pitch gets away from the catcher, and Pierre's now going to have 2 runners in scoring position. It went underneath Malachi Medina. I would guess you'd call that a passed ball in that situation. It's going to now be a count of 1-1, and it just got that much better for Pierre. The runner at third is Trevor Rounds. Runner at second is Porter Hunsley. The best spot Pierre's been in offensively all game. Swing and a miss, though, for Hunsley here. Count goes to 1-2. He's in danger of getting struck out. And Pierre leaving 2 runners stranded on base. They didn't miss the opportunity in the 6th. Will they miss it in the 7th? Not yet. Pitch is high and outside. Count goes to 2-2. Good work by Grayson Hunsley to pull back right there. Kudna trying to ramp up the pace and catch Hunsley off guard. Here's a drive into left. This one going right to Jake Balliot, who makes the catch for out number 3, and that will do it for the top half of the 7th inning. So Pierre leaves 2 stranded on base and leaves the score at 1-2-0. We're on to the bottom of the 7th. Last chance to dance for the Dickinson Roughriders. We'll be back in 1 on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports.
When you're in town for the big game, why not stay where the view is just as great as the action? American and Fort Pierre sits right on the river, offering beautiful scenery, relaxing comfort, and easy access to the ballpark. After a day at the Diamond, there's nothing better than unwinding by the water, and the American always hits it out of the park. Stay by the river. Stay in comfort. Call 605-223-2358 to book your room today. American, where the river meets relaxation. Step up to the plate with Overhead Door Company of Pierre. Like your favorite team, we deliver reliability, strength, and top-notch performance. For over 100 years, Overhead Door has been the most respected name in the industry. From commercial or residential repairs to full upgrades, our team of technicians stand ready to provide winning results. Don't let a faulty garage door strike you out. Look for the signature red ribbon and call the industry MVP at 605-224-6200. Bring your garage door game to the big leagues.
Welcome back to Post-Day Baseball on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports. And we've reached the bottom half of the 7th for your 8s on top of the Dickinson Roughriders by a score of 1-0 at Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark in Dickinson, North Dakota. Game number 1 of today's doubleheader. It's been a sensational game for Will Danberg, who has controlled the pace, controlled the tempo, and has been the man on the mound. Here's a drive into left field, and it goes right to Ridge Lineback. He doesn't even have to move on that initial swing by the man who came to the plate, Brady Hecker. A line out to left and 1 down just like that in the bottom of the 7th, and just 2 outs remaining for the Dickinson Roughriders to work with. It sends on Cameron Wolf, who flew out to right his last time up. He's also struck out looking in this game against Will Danberg, who's trying to go coast to coast. Here's a drive to center and a nice catch by Porter Hunsley on the run. And in 2 swings, Dickinson has gone from no outs to 2 outs. They've got just 1 left. After Wolf's line out to center, Malachi Medina is the man at the plate and could be the last man at the plate for the Roughriders in game 1. Now Post-8 only needs 1 more out to secure their 3rd win in less than 24 hours. This pitch is outside. Count goes to 1-0. The Roughriders have been able to get hardly anything off of the sensational Will Danberg throughout the entirety of this game. Just a total of 3 hits, and they have not been able to cash in with a run. They haven't had multiple hits in an inning all game, but to be fair, neither side has been able to do that. Here's one sent towards right, and the second baseman, Hudson Stosher, is there to get the out and end the game. Post-8 with Will Power, Will Danberg that is, to win by a score of 1-0 over the Dickinson Roughriders. And as I mentioned, get their 3rd win in the last 24 hours. A dominant defensive performance and a timely offensive RBI single by Sutton Sunshine makes the difference in this one. And Pierre moves to 7-5 on the season and gets ready for the second half of today's doubleheader coming up in about 30 minutes time from Dickinson, North Dakota. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout and be right back with your KCCR Sports post-game show, recapping all of the stats and so much more from game number 1. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 2.
Is your roof ready for the next South Dakota storm? Don't wait till it's too late. For over 25 years, Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction has been serving Central South Dakota with quality roofing and construction. He has now added gutters. We offer dependable service, guaranteed workmanship, and no unnecessary flash or fuss. Just reliable protection for your home. Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction. Experience you can trust. Call today, 605-280-8133. Karsten Erickson Roofing and Construction, serving Central South Dakota for over 25 years. Look, it's no secret that owning a vehicle can cause a lot of stress, and they get a lot of wear and tear on them through the extreme seasons we've grown to love. Graham Tire wants you to know that you can trust them with any problem that you have with your vehicle. Their ASE certified mechanics can make your AC cool again, or even just change your oil. They can look into and fix those noises that seem to come from nowhere and have you stressed out. Bring your car to Graham Tire so they can put your mind at ease. Graham Tire, your tire store next door.
When you bank with First Fidelity, we reinvest your deposit right back into our community. We make loans to local families, farms, and small businesses. Community reinvestment is one of our basic purposes. It's vital to the local economy. It also helps grow our community. Stop by one of our branches today. First Fidelity Bank, first-class banking on a first-name basis. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. Online at ffb-sd.com.
Want technology solutions you can trust from a neighbor you know? Comtech, locally owned and serving Pierre and surrounding area since 2009, is dedicated to keeping your home, farm, and business connected and secure. We offer a full range of services, from audio and video, security, surveillance, and networking with expert installation and support. Visit our storefront, call us at 605-224-4066, or visit our website, comtechplus.com, to experience the Comtech difference. Comtech, your local technology experts. A lightning fast game here at Dakota Community Bank Trust Ballpark. Dylan Simmons with you. We have reached the final of game number one with your Eights winning by a score of 1-0 over the Dickinson Roughriders. It was a pitching masterclass put on by two fantastic pitchers today. For Post 8, it was Will Danberg. 7 innings pitched, went the entire distance, managing a complete game shutout. He gave up just 3 hits all game with 2 strikeouts. Meanwhile, for the Dickinson Roughriders, it was all about their man, Kyler Krudna, who also went 7 innings, gave up just 1 earned run, an RBI single to Sutton Sunshine. Did have 3 walks issue, but 6 strikeouts to go along with that. Danberg only with the 2 Ks, but he didn't need the strikeouts. He was good enough to manage ground balls and easy lineouts for his defense to clean up. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And Pierre able to get the 1-0 win. As I mentioned, Sutton Sunshine able to get the lone RBI single in this game and 2 total hits. The only player to manage multiple hits. The only other player for Pierre that actually got a hit in this game was Ridge Linebaugh, who got a single earlier on in this game, actually in the very first inning, but after that, Post 8 was shut out. Meanwhile, for the Dickinson Roughriders, they had 1 hit coming from Kyler Krudna himself, able to get a hit early on in this game, and then a couple more hits coming from the likes of their number 1 player, which was Christian Tibor, along with number 12, that is Camden Kubis, the number 8 and 9 men in the order. Well, regardless, Pierre able to win by a score of 1-0. They move to 7-5 on the season, but there's no rest for the weary. They've got to get ready for game number 2 as they take on the Roughriders once again right here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust Ballpark. That will be coming up in about 30 minutes time or so. Stay tuned right here on KCCR and on YouTube at KCCR Sports for coverage of that game coming up after a few commercial breaks and KCCR News with Zach Nelson. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a few right here on KCCR. Thank you so much for listening.